It's faster than I expected.
Well,
Are we live? Hello, hello. Are we?
I think we're
we're
live.
Are
about
we
to
live
get
now?
this.
Hello,
We're
hello.
about to get this party started, people, and we are live. Okay, we'll bypass that intro. Do we bypass?
You're not tricking me again. I
Okay,
thought that was
everybody,
longer.
we're
Did you
live.
shorten it? Hello.
Our girl in the house. How you doing, girl?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh man, we're fired up. We got Patriots with Grit in the house today. We're happy to welcome
We do
Randy
indeed.
and Daryn out of Missouri. Man, these guys are on fire, that's for sure. They've decided they're going to join the Unity train and woo, get on down the track.
Woohoo! Chugga,
We're
Welcome,
ready.
chugga.
gentlemen.
Toot
Welcome
toot.
to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Welcome,
Well, that's
welcome.
good. Listen, you guys are on fire. I saw you on a LW show. Uh, you guys were so great on there. I got right on my phone, and I said I gotta get these guys on the show. These guys are straight from the heartland, and I went over to your channel. I subscribed, but more importantly, I thought, man, these guys ain't playing around. You guys have done some awesome work out there. You did a big show on big oil, the climate change, the Green New Deal. You interviewed Miss Connie Davis on these dirty FBI agents that we're all watching, and
Yep.
the effect on a big senator over there. You did a great show on the media and misinformation. And of course, you did one over on the Brunson case, but more recently, and boy, if you guys have an update on this gentleman, I saw that story about Matt Strickland out of Virginia, who was the
Yes,
gentleman
great
that
story.
refused to comply, and they ended up pulling his liquor license from him, and he fought the system, and inevitably he ended up running for office over there. I thought that
Hmm.
was just so compelling. So congratulations on all those big stories.
Well, we've
It's
had some
like,
other
what's
big stories.
next?
We started
We're
out
all
with
on.
some. We started out with some regional stories that actually got us 3 strikes on YouTube, like boom, boom, boom. So, and
Oh,
the
that's
first,
a great sign.
and the first one
That's a
was,
grand slam where I come from.
I'm just going to tell you what the first one was. We interviewed a gal out of St. Louis who had done a lot of investigative work and found out that the voting machines had not been certified in over 10 years.
Yep.
And Randy, how often are they supposed to be certified?
Every 2.
Every 2 years. So she filed suit against all the people, all the nefarious actors in that whole deal. It's, of course, that got us our first strike on YouTube, just because we proved that the election voting machines had not been certified in 2 years. So then Simone Gold, we got Simone Gold on, and she got us another strike. And then we got another. I don't know. I think we're still in the locker room with YouTube right now.
Yeah, they're letting us slide a few in, but we're gonna do some covert issues that they won't catch.
We have some plans there, so we'll figure it out.
Well,
Nice.
that's awesome. And you don't stop there, because I hear y'all are taking these Clay Clark events by storm.
Well, I don't know about that. I
those.
mean, well, I mean, I've known Clay since 2000. I knew Clay back almost 3 years ago, before he was even doing these tours. I was going to his business conferences, and I really liked the guy, and I liked what he stood for, and I liked his business savviness. And then when all this COVID nonsense started in March of 2020, Clay kind of flipped and went from all business to exposing, all the corruption and sharing truth. And then, he had his first Reawaken America tour in April of 21, and I went to that in Tulsa. And from then on, man, it was game on.
Yeah.
I mean, we were,
Wow.
I've been to some of his events, and we were in Branson broadcasting and doing live interviews there at the one in November. And man, kudos to him for putting on. And it's only by God's intervention that Clay could do something like this, because he came out of the gate. I'm just going to give you a little background. When he put that first event on in April of 21, In 45 days, he put this event on. He had no place to have it, no way to sell tickets, and nobody to speak. And in 45 days, he had about 3,500 people at a church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Raven Bible College. And the speakers that he had there were, you all know, you've watched his tours, 70 some speakers of some of the top people in the nation. And I mean, that doesn't happen without divine intervention. I'll just say that.
Oh, for sure.
Wow, hallelujah. Now
he's doing some big things.
Well, I y'all's tagline, hear truth, be bold, live free. Tell us how this all got started for you guys, because you guys were just two dads that met each other, right?
Go ahead, Randy.
Well, I tell you, there is a neighborhood app that was going around, and I was so fed up with my wife, and I were talking about, the mask garbage, and all the stuff we were seeing. And I said, I look around this neighborhood, and I guarantee you there's us and our neighbor, and the rest of them probably don't know anything. And I said, one gal put out, let's start a no maskers group or an anti-maskers group. Yeah. And I said, well, let's have some meetings in my garage and see how we can maybe pass out reports and show some stuff. And so 3 of the 9 people showed up. And then we had another meeting a week later, I think it was, and 13 showed up. And then he popped in, which I never even knew who he was. But what happens is we found out that he was raised in a town kind of near where I was. He knows all the people I know, but we never knew each other. So that's kind of where that started. And then he basically said, maybe we should, the way to get this out is to do a podcast. And I'm like, what? I said, that's never even crossed my mind. I'm thinking walking door to door with, papers. And
Randy's old, man. He's old school.
Yeah, you're Mr. Tech.
You're gonna go hand some flyers out.
I'm gonna make an impact.
You ought to see our fax machine right over here too.
I wish we could show you our dry erase board, because when we started last year, there's a drawing of a circle that says camera with an arrow that points over to a square thing, and it says record.
That's how we started.
And that's in our museum. We're going
to take a picture of that and have it on the show for future use. That's how we started. I bought all this podcast equipment in 2015 and didn't do anything with it. It was all in storage. And I wanted to do a business podcast or an entrepreneur podcast, but I just hadn't gotten around to it. And I think that's part of God's timing planning. But I
totally think it is, because this is something I would have never done. And, I'd prayed a long time about trying to have something where I could have an impact in this situation, because I always said I was never in the military. I've done nothing for this country except sit around and be ignorant. And now it was time for me to start talking about stuff. And this whole thing came together.
Well, I'll be the first to admit, my wife and I raised 3 girls, grew up, conservative, sent them to public schools, went to church pretty much every Sunday. I'll be the first to say I was an avid Fox News watcher. I knew nothing about history, nothing about politics. In fact, I hated them both. I hated history all through school. Yeah, I hated politics in college. Only time I ever voted was for presidential elections. If I were to ever vote for a school board candidate, which I don't think I ever did, it would have been for the one who had the most signs in the yard. I didn't know anything about any of this stuff.
Right.
But I always say that when all this COVID nonsense started about February of 2020, my wife had on the news, 2 or 3 days, and she's in healthcare. And about the second day, I said, this is nonsense. I said, something's off. I smell a rat. And I think the thing that really shifted it for me was I came home one night and my wife was cooking dinner. And that's back when she used to listen to the news. And she'd have on, World News Tonight with David Muir, ABC. And it was about mid-February. And the opening story was, in the background, there's backhoes, excavators in New York City digging mass graves to bury all the COVID death patients.
Yeah,
and
real. I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember all of that.
And they're like, and I'm like, I told my wife, said,
I remember that
digging mass graves. And then it was like they would pan over to the hospitals with refrigerated semi trucks backed up to the docks of the hospitals to load all the dead bodies. And I'm like, that's nonsense also. I said, This whole thing's nonsense.
I remember that.
And
too.
before that, I believed everything the news said. But the day they put a mask on my 3 girls was the day I lifted my head out of the sand or pulled it out of somewhere else and got on this train and figured out that, hey, man, we're being led down the wrong path.
Well, and I'll say too, I told him this when it first hit. My wife was one of them that when we got an Amazon package, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Let's spray it down. Don't set it on the floor. We'll wipe, set it on plastic. We did all that stuff for about a week. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, I'm done with this. If we're going to die, we're going to die. So,
I mean, yeah. I have to take my mom to a local Sam's Club every week, just because that's our day out. And they're still wearing masks and rubber gloves. Their employees are still wearing masks and rubber gloves in Sam's Club. And I'm like, I don't get it. I just cannot, I can't get past it. It's amazing to me. So
it's amazing.
One other thing we did was we started this group, and then we started going to school board meetings, and then we started speaking at school board meetings, and then there were about 8 parents got together, and Randy and I were 2 of the 8, and we sued 7 school districts in federal court for masks here in the Kansas City area.
And then we got a judge that was the judge was too chicken crap to take it.
Well, the judge was on his way out. A federal judge was on his way out, and he wasn't wanting to jeopardize, the last few things. So basically, our attorney said he didn't even read the case, and had he done so, he couldn't have dismissed it based on the grounds that he dismissed it. So he was just a crooked judge of the Western District of Missouri. I believe his name was the Honorable. Yeah. Was it Fernando Gaitin?
I don't remember.
Just give a little shout out for the Honorable Gaitin.
Put him on blast. Put him on blast.
Give him a little bit of PR there.
You guys operate.
Yeah.
Me too. Listen, let's pause for just a moment. We got a VIP guest in the audience over there. We want to welcome LW to the show. Thanks for coming, LW. We see you out there. And hello to Phil. Listen, you guys have a compelling story, man. And like I said, when I saw you, you would have been brought together for many years. You just kind of have a back and forth banter that's very natural. Did you ever think that you'd be doing any type of broadcasting and being a broadcaster personality or anything in this way? I mean, you guys are just so awesome together.
Well, I will tell you that one of the school board meetings, because they were terrified that people were going to bring COVID in, they wouldn't let us in the building. So we set up a tent outside, and we set up, what was it, Facebook Live?
Oh yeah, we had Zoom. We had to interact with the school board members inside in their conference room, and we were under a rain-filled tent in the parking lot of the school.
That's not othering, not at all.
Yeah, so I was very frustrated, and I probably said some things I shouldn't have said, but Daryn has a great neighbor that's on the far left, and he accused me of being a Rush Limbaugh wannabe. So,
that's a bad
we'll call it. And I
he's prophesying over you.
I mistakenly posted a mask picture on Facebook with the school district, and apparently his kid was in there, and he went just bat poop crazy on me. And we'll just say his name is Hothead Willie.
And he accused us.
We'll call him Hothead Willie. Is that okay?
We're that QAnon group.
Yeah,
it's going to be
QAnon group.
Going to hurt his kid.
So yeah. So we'll call him Hothead Willie. We need to have a meme name after Hothead.
Right. Well, all that to say, guys, you guys have been to these great conferences. You've got a great channel on Rumble, and we're going to give out the information before the show ends, so people know where to find you and go to watch your great work that you've put out there. But now you're stepping into a new arena. You're going to start with live shows. Tell us a little bit about that.
Go ahead, Randy.
Nice.
Well, I think we've got it somewhat figured out. LW has been helping us on that. We're 2 guys that I thought our live chat, like Daryn said, our live chat was going to be via fax.
Yeah,
so,
fax machine. That's our. You want to talk to us? You fax us, and we'll fax you back. We'll read it. That's our. That was going to be our live chat.
So I think we've got that figured out. Yeah, we want to start figuring out how we can be more consistent and doing the live shows. I really am not scared of it. I think it would be so much fun to do it that way. It's just sometimes you have the issue where I know you said you have a full-time job too, and I travel a little bit. So, I worry about setting up a particular night that we're going to stream that night live, but we're going to figure something out here in the next couple of weeks and get this thing going. We've got so many people backlogged up that we can get on the show, but we've kind of been slowing it down to get our head wrapped around what we need to do. So,
in fact, Randy said today, he made a comment. He's like, we need to have a plan. I was a business owner for like 31 years, sold our company 5 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, a plan probably would be a good idea, starting this out from scratch. But I think we've done pretty well for not having a plan.
For real.
We're shotgun
learning.
Yeah.
Have either one of you ever thought for running for office over there? Have you ever thought of giving it a run for office?
I think I would rather run from office and be a broadcaster.
Yeah. I think we'd be better. We would be better at finding people with the qualities to be true patriot politicians.
No. I like that.
Not politicians.
Talent scout.
Yes, but not politicians. They would be people representatives.
Yeah.
We the people party. Yeah, we the people.
Well,
yeah.
Not party.
Listen,
we the people candidates.
Right, we the people candidates. But along those lines, not to get off track from the story, but listen, I was gonna this came out last night. It was breaking news from General Vallely. Anybody that watches my information source updates know that I follow the generals. Well, General Vallely came out with a major announcement last night, and I want to encourage everybody to go to standupamericaus.org. That's standupamericaus.org. Okay. If you're a person and you trust, I've been on with this military component from the onset. These are retired generals who have outstanding credentials, who have been fighting the battle on behalf of the people since the very beginning, and their track record over the course of the last 2 years speaks for itself. One of the champions and leaders of that fight all around, to include helping get military cases into the court system to challenge this mandate that our Secretary of Defense Austin put on the military members of this country. He's been on the forefront of fighting that, and that's General McInerney. They have now formed a commission, and I've been watching this transpire, and they've been putting it together for a while, but they're just now announcing the launch of it. It's called the CCRA. It's called the Citizens Commission to Restore America. It's a people's commission is how he's describing it. Again, I encourage you to go to his website. We'll put it on again at the end of the show. But it's run by a panel of well-respected people. McInerney at the helm is one of the people. General Vallely will be involved. I'm sure Colonel Sellon will be involved, and all the rest. And these are all very credentialed, retired military people. And so, the question is, what is this program? What is it? And what do they need from the people in order to make this work? Well, what they're going to do is form small commissions of people for each state. Each state will have what they're calling a people's commission. This commission, and this is a way to take back our country the same way we've all been taking it back, nice and peacefully, through written directives that are submitted to the court. They're actually putting together an organized effort. We know many people that are out there doing it individually on a case-by-case basis all across this country, but there's been no one to come out in an organized effort to rally it all together and to organize it. And they are doing that now through the CCRA, the Citizens Commission to Restore America. So they need the people. They need people to participate, and then they need the people to take action in order to finally have a voice. So, again, you have to go there. It involves printing and signing documents and sending written directives to remove and prosecute public servants in our own townships and in our own area, from the DAs to the governors to the sheriffs to the county commissioners and all the local folks. So this is now, and he came straight out and said this is an military plan and strategy that a lot of these retired generals have been working on in the background all along with all their plans to shut down the border and take control of that too, which I understand have just been accepted. We're following that story as well, but this is a way people can get involved, and we need to get this message out on all of our platforms, on every show that there is, to let the people know to get behind General McInerney and the CCRA, the Citizens Commission to Restore America. This is how it's done from a grassroots effort, and now it's being organized by military men. And listen, I trust everything military, because these are guys that keep things organized. You can rest assured of that. They're not everyday people. They're trained to be specific and trained to be precise and trained to have a plan to execute for success. So I just want to throw that out there tonight while we're in the Liberty Lounge and we're all on the Unity train, that we get this message out to everybody. That's General McInerney. Go to standupamericaus.org. This is going to take the people. If you've watched any of the shows that are out there on any of the platforms, you'll see this is going to take an action by the people of peace and unity. That's why we have this peace and unity train. And this is how we take our country back and restore the republic in a peaceful way. And I love getting behind retired generals that are credentialed enough to lead the way, because in my opinion, people qualify to do this kind of job. And I feel very safe in jumping on board with that concept. So just your initial thoughts, Power Girl, and then Randy and Daryn, because this is new. This just dropped last night.
Can you give us that website one more time?
I've got it. StandUpAmericaUS.org.
US.org. What do you think of that, Power Girl?
I think it's fantastic. I think
Power
it's right
Girl.
in line with everything that. Oops, hold 1 second. Am I muted? No, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Is it my... Okay, very good. Yeah, I think it's right in line with what we're seeing in the field. I mean, we're getting win after win after win. I very closely follow what's happening over there in Wisconsin, and I believe they're leading the way in this fight, and I see that we're definitely winning. So, yeah, this is fantastic news. Actually, I just sent it to Annie to let her know that she, to get it for her, because Annie's Campground, guys, if you don't already know, is one of our freedom fighters in the field over there in Wisconsin who's being harassed and bullied and abused by her law enforcement because she's helping trafficking victims. So, yeah, it's great to see that there's a plan and that they're publishing it, because I've been hearing about this plan for years, but I just haven't seen any hide nor hair of it. So,
well, people want to
I think it's
ask
exciting.
what to do. This is it. They've come up with the way. They've come up with a plan. That's been everybody's question
to look into
now.
for
what
sure.
can we do?
I want to do a plug here about the organization here that we're working with recently that is somewhat in correlation with what you just mentioned. Let me find out here.
Now that website's for Missouri only.
I know, but I wanted to. So Randy and I, and there's a local group here. Missouri is kind of leading the way along with Michigan and Alaska in kind of a similar path, which you just mentioned, Liberty Cowgirl. And it's all based on jural assemblies. And for us in Missouri, I mean, people can look at the website, see what it's a little bit about. It's AmericanCivicsEducation.org. AmericanCivicsEducation.org. People can go there and look. It's really fantastic on what people are doing and putting together in counties. It starts at the county level. I think you have to have 15 people in your county willing to come on board. And is it 38 counties per state, I believe? Something like that.
25 counties, 25 or 28. I can't remember.
But 38 states have to jump on board before the end. So
and 11 states have completed.
Yeah.
And the last, the guy, the presenter said that Alberta, Canada was on the call.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the whole legal process, but there's something that says that, the way I understood it, Alberta could be a part of the United States.
So
Wow.
the numbers are 15, 25, and 38 states. But again, it's AmericanCivicsEducation.org. And it kind of goes along, from what it sounds like, to CCRA, StandUpAmericaUS.org. So the two of them sound like they're kind of working in tandem to get the same thing accomplished. And I don't think most of these people, these elected officials, whether they're county commissioners or judges or prosecutors, I don't think any of them even know any of this exists. And I don't think they really know how people are going to be onto them and onto their trail here real quick.
Well, they're still appearing on Zoom, is what I saw in Wisconsin the other day.
Because it's too scary. I mean, this is too dangerous.
Well,
right?
How many have you guys, do you remember the saying, they can't stop what's coming? Because we are doing it in the, what they call the de jure fashion, the lawful fashion in common law, as opposed to the de facto that we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to return to where we should be, and they're not going to be able to stop it.
And I told my wife this last night. We were getting ready to go to bed. I told her, I said, here's the situation. I said, I truly think we are the last generation between our kids and a tyrannical takeover, because I said, our kids don't care, and our kids haven't been educated, and our kids don't know.
Nope.
But our kids are too worried about their smartphones and their Starbucks to care. And if we don't stand in the gap and do what, like Matt Truella says, and I'm going to plug for Matt, stand as intermediaries. And if you don't know who Matt Truella is, I'm going to throw a plug out there. Matt Truella is a pastor in Wisconsin. He wrote the book, The Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrates. If you all have not read The Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrates, I would suggest that you run to your keyboard and order it from Amazon right now. It's fantastic. I would suggest that you get on Matt Truella's email list. It's TREWHELLA.com. He is a pastor that's not woke and not weak, and he stands up for people like I have never seen anybody stand up for people before.
He spent part of his life in prison.
He has spent 15 months of his he's 57. He spent 15 months of his life in jail and or being locked up because of his stance on pro-life. And he's taken a beating for it. But if we don't do that and stand in the gap for our generation, for our kids and our grandkids, I told my wife, they're not going to live like
I love it.
So,
one of the things too, I don't mean to talk over you guys, but one of the things that I had a phone call with one of our leaders in this whole de jure movement we're doing, and he's already got plans to put this in a workbook form so people can home study it. And we brought it up on the phone today. I think we got to somehow get this we're not going to get it in the public school, but we got to get it into a homeschool setting, because the history and the civics are being taught is a lie.
Yeah, for real.
It's mind control.
Wow. Yes.
Well, listen, I think
that
we all are there. We all know what all is.
Because that's talk on Freedom Fridays. Yeah.
I think Powergirl. She's locked up there.
Yeah, she'll get back to us in a minute. But yeah, this is listen. I think we all are to the place where we know.
It sounds like we're losing. Are we in trouble with the internet? Anyway,
we got you back now.
Yeah, I just pulling up all this stuff on my web. It might be me because I'm pulling up all this stuff on my browser. I don't want to miss out on this. This is a lot of really great information. So, and it just sounds like we're all moving in the right. It's just so heartening to hear. You're just rattling off state after state. It's so heartening to hear, because that's exactly that's not happening in California. So that's why I had to go out to Wisconsin to find a freedom fighting movement that's actually viable. I think we have some movements here in California, but it's so blue here. But yeah, that's really exciting. So I've pulled up all of those things to check those out. That looks like a lot of really great information.
I want to give a plug for Matt Trilla. I believe his website is defytyrants.com or .org. I can find out. That would be a good. That would definitely be a good. Defytyrants.com is his website. Or and if you get on his email list, I think you'd really be. You'd really appreciate what he sends out and updates. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I was just thinking, if we do this
great.
people's movement in California, New York's not going to do it. I just wonder if these groups have the power to get them out of the union, get them out, just separate them, let them be their own countries.
Be careful. You're talking to Powergirl. She lives there.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to give up on it, but I'll tell you what, there is a big movement. There actually is you said du jour? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's the
there
lawful
is a big
common
du jour
law
movement here. Yes, and that is happening in California. So, we are getting there. We're definitely getting. There's a lot of people papering up, which we talk a lot about on Freedom Friday about whether that's a good idea to do or not. Because it feels like that's why it's great to get all these all of these du jour groups together, because it would be great to see a conference or something where we can start coming together on some of these ideas and really become we the people to This is so great that everybody's doing their thing, but I'd love to see some kind of a network, where we can all get together on that, because not necessarily to agree on everything, but just to start to create some kind of a structure. It looks like it's already being created. And so that way we're not duplicating efforts and maybe learning from each other. So I don't know that I believe God is working on that. Just talking to you guys for the last 15 minutes has given me so much heart, because I had no idea all this was going on. So that's fantastic.
Let me throw this in there. How many people do you guys know that are trying to become state nationalists?
Personally, or I know quite a few that are, in the freedom fighting movement. Yes. Even here in California, there are people that are talking about it. I think the education piece, like you guys were saying, is the most important. That's a huge cavern that we've been trying to fill on Freedom Friday by just talking about these subjects on a philosophical, like a high level overview, slowly talking about the lost tools of learning and how to identify a fallacy and critical thinking and things like that. But you're talking about the actual rebuilding and restoration and restructuring of the country. And that's really exciting. So
yeah, I just want to say, and we went to a session where they kind of help you become a state nationalist, get yourself out of the corporation.
Right.
But I think
don't say any names.
No, I'm not. In the process, people that are smarter than us have found that there's another way. Why would you take yourself and change your status from you don't need to change your status. You can still take back your country without doing that, because that can create some problems.
Because we were looking at it, it's a very complicated, long, drawn out. We've talked to people that have been studying this for 10 years and they haven't even gotten off of first base. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong. God gave me the power of discernment. I smell a rat. Something's off. Like I said, COVID.
Right.
And we have gone to this other path that we're looking at, the jural assemblies and du jour and all that. It just looks like it's so much more direct, so much more just targeted, focused, a lot smaller, and just counties come together with states, and as opposed to just trying to do all this wild and crazy stuff on your own and getting all these things changed and your driver's license and
well, that's exactly what Annie's experiencing. Annie's campground, she is literally on the lam right now because she is a sovereign, and she's also helping trafficking victims. So she's a real target, and so that's why she's her testimony is very powerful to say we really need to come together on this before people do this as individuals, because and I can say that for here in Humboldt County, I know of a woman who was being persecuted, over the holiday season, because she's a sovereign and doesn't have a license and all those things. So I like to fly under the radar. That's just me. So I agree. And my other thing about it too is based on principle. Why would you go back to an illegitimate system? It's almost when you paper up, you're actually legitimizing an illegitimate system, because
Exactly.
none of us agreed to this. This was a total hijacking of our inheritance. I am a woman under God, and I take my sovereignty, because there's nothing separating me and God, thanks to Jesus,
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
to me, I don't understand, and so that's why we're really focusing on Freedom Fridays, to build critical mass and talking about it from a philosophical, high level overview standpoint, and really breaking it down. Like our first couple episodes were all about eating the elephant and one bite at a time, and introducing, like you said, because it's this education piece that we're really missing, is that breaking down, like I said, the lost tools of learning, the very simple concepts, critical thinking. Most people don't even, after the last 3 years, do people even know what that is anymore? It's like,
Some people
wow.
still don't have it.
Not at
You know what
all.
I'm saying?
Gone, man.
So
It's gone.
we got to really break it down. And that's what we're trying to do.
Right. And I think one of the challenges out in the public domain is people don't know where to go. We all know that we have to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Okay.
Mhm.
So how do people do that? Logistically, nobody ever wants to do what was done on January 6th again, and everybody go into Washington, D.C., which most believe are empty right now. And if you watched Nancy Drew's videos today, who's boots on the ground, journalist out there walking the streets every day, showing everybody what's going on in Washington, D.C., it certainly does appear to be a little deserted over there. So, what are you going to get the whole country to go to Washington, D.C. to march to what? Empty buildings? That makes no sense. And everybody knows this. It's not even common sense. So
Well,
then
again,
what are
this
the
is
chances of getting everybody to go march on? To go march on their capital in the same day. All this stuff is just not going to happen. It's not coordinated efforts. So the most important thing is that people have been waiting. Then you have, of course, these patriot conferences that are out there. Now, even those are tainted in the public eye, and I'm just going to be honest about it. Not only can people not afford to go to these conferences, and they certainly can't afford to put these conferences on for free either.
right.
We understand that they're normal people, but nobody can afford to go to the conferences. And in the beginning, there's no doubt about it. There were lots of compelling things out in the public arena that showed that perhaps they were infiltrated in addition to that. So there you go. They've been labeled with, boom, mistrust. And that's the challenge with getting people to go to these patriot conferences, in my own humble opinion. So what do we have left thereafter? Okay, everybody's been waiting for something like this that the generals are launching now. And you got, again, everybody use their own discernment. Whatever you do, it's got to be an effort that's going to do exactly what Powergirl and Brock are driving out in the public arena right now, which is critical mass.
Yes.
And building critical mass of people to stand up and say, hey, we're not going to take this anymore, because we all know. And hold on one moment, we have a special guest. I got to stop this train for a minute.
Throw the brake on.
People, and got a conductor stopping by.
Boom.
Why is this guy stalking us?
The lone wolf.
I'm tracking you down, Randy.
I've got a little bit of a delay.
I've been listening to you guys.
Hey, LW, how you doing, sir?
Hi guys, I've been listening to you guys since the very beginning. What a wonderful podcast, and Randy and Daryn are definitely great guests to have on, great co-hosts. They have a great show, and I shared it out on my platform, so I think I need to get a little earlier start on that for you, Cowgirl.
Thank you. Well, we're glad you're here with us today, man. We're just drilling down on a couple of things here with what's going on. And then, of course, this announcement last night of this commission. But even more importantly, we all three, LW, you, Powergirl, and myself, actually did a show that's going to air on Saturday night where we're discussing what everybody's starting to discuss now in the news cycle, which is this DNA, this Declaration of North America. That's the 6-pillar step
Correct.
to the NWO being brought forth in front of everyone. So I'll look forward to that show airing on Saturday night, because everybody's, sounding the bells about things.
Mm-hmm.
Power
Yes,
Girl.
they are, and I have it produced,
Did
so
you get
it's
your sound
ready.
fixed?
It's ready to go Saturday.
Sweet. Listen, I want to say something really
that's
quick
awesome, because
before I lose the thought. Can I say something, Liberty? Because when you were saying about
Absolutely.
the March on Washington, the first thing I thought of, coming from where I come from in the virtual learning space, is peace and unity. This is why the peace and unity movement is so powerful, because the people that cannot afford to go to the conferences, the people that can't physically go to Washington, D.C., and we know now that it's not safe to do that, they can just hop on the peace and unity train, right? Just like Randy and Daryn did. I mean, it's so easy to do, and it's just a huge community. And look at, just from having them here today, I've learned so much, and I have so much to dive into, to start to knit these things together. Because I really think that that's the answer. Everybody has such great ideas, and I think they're all, important to look at and examine. And that's why I think this virtual space that we're creating, this peace and unity movement. And look, I mean, how long have you been doing this, Liberty?
I've
Cowgirl.
only been broadcasting for
How long have you been doing peace and unity? How
about
long have you
8
been
months.
talking about that?
I've been part of the movement for the last, from day one.
It's grown so much in
And
just 8 months.
Let me tell you, peddling peace and unity is not easy. No, right.
Especially
Right.
not the new
Well,
normal.
I'm glad that Randy and Daryn are on the right. I'm glad that Randy and Daryn support. Now we're looking forward to many other podcasters joining us on this peace and unity train. I'm glad that LW is at the helm. It was really important to me that he be here from day one when the train left the station. So I can't thank you enough, sir, for your support and helping all of us smaller people, smaller voices,
Knuckles.
have a bigger voice.
Right.
We're all grateful for that.
Hey, I want to add on to Power Girl here.
Listen, we're coming up against the hour, but
Okay.
I want to just go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we're in a movement. When you said peace and unity, I keep thinking about what we got all excited after we learned about the General Assembly process. And I said, we're going to reclaim our state and America without firing a shot.
Absolutely.
And I know people that are so stupid that
Yes.
they're wanting to, I can't wait till the bullets fly. Yeah, you think that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No.
Oh, no. That's
Not
the
just
way.
that, the other
That's
side
not
is
the way.
antagonizing us, guys. They're trying to get
Yep.
us out. That's what we learned on J6.
Mhm.
That we
Yep.
have to that we have to think smarter. We have to this is psychological warfare, and we have to act appropriately. That's why this is so this virtual space, and then it's Peace and Unity 2.0, and that's the caravan of podcasters that get together that create this huge audience. That actually, what we've been doing is creating cover for these freedom fighters who are actually out there on the front lines, like Annie's campground, who are defying these tyrants in real time. And Brock Maddox is another one. And he brings just a whole bevy of actual freedom fighters. And so when we create our podcaster caravan, peace and unity presence online, how are these tyrants going to get shenanigans?
Absolutely.
They're not. I mean, because not only that, it creates boots on the ground to show up to these courthouses, to show up to these city council meetings, to these school board meetings. And it really, people start to realize they're not alone. And that's dangerous when good people are standing up, and then all of a sudden they realize that they're not alone, that people are actually doing that all over, and they can start connecting those dots. Whoo, you better watch out, devil.
Yeah. So I just
Oh,
want to
no,
make
sure.
a comment. I just want to make a comment, and then I'm going to bow out and jump back in chat. So I just went down and filled up my propane tanks and ran into an old buddy of mine here in town. he's paying attention to all this. Don't think for 1 second, Randy, Daryn, Powergirl, Cowgirl, don't think for 1 minute that what we're doing is not being heard. There's so many people out there that you would not believe that's actually listening to the materials that we're putting out. They're fed up with lamestream media. They will not listen to it anymore. He already knows about the DNA. I actually just kind of popped it out there for a minute. He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm already aware of that." So these people are getting educated. So at LWN, we want to unite, educate, motivate. And I'm going to leave with this: be ready, because the wolf pack is uniting, and it's coming. It's coming, baby. See you guys all later.
Awesome. Take care, man. See ya.
See you.
Amen.
I can't wait.
Thanks,
I can't wait. till the
Drop the
Wolfpack's coming.
mic and disappear.
Mic drop.
I want to jump onto what Liberty Cowgirl said earlier. You mentioned Nancy Drew.
That's it.
I also follow somebody, Richard, citizen journalist, who is
Yes.
also in DC, and he does daily updates along the East Coast and primarily in DC. And it's amazing to me, like you said, all these buildings that are empty, the streets are pretty much desolate. It's like, where are all these newscasts that you see on the, I don't see them because I don't watch the news, but my mom will see newscasts on at night, and this going on in DC and that going on in DC. Well, you have people boots on the ground who are filming in DC, and they show the city is pretty much desolate. So what's going on here?
I think it's a Hollywood
Ah.
production.
Interesting. Are there 2 White Houses?
Well, hey, let me give you this. When we went to one of
Maybe
our
3 or 4.
yeah, I mean, well, you've already seen probably where there's supposed to be a set in Alabama somewhere, like Atlanta or something like that. But
Wait, that's Georgia.
Georgia. It is.
Oh
Georgia.
yeah, Georgia. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I'm a
Had a
huge
long
Tyler
day for
Perry
Randy.
fan.
Tyler Perry Studios.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So far, I've
But-
heard of 3 or 4.
But we
I wouldn't be
heard
surprised.
at that meeting the other day that at one point, okay, United States is to a point where we can't even pay our interest back on our debt. And DC, being a foreign entity, has basically been closed. So that, and I don't know all the details.
And
but-
I contend that happened quite some time ago.
Yeah, I agree.
We can only hope.
I agree.
I concur with you, Randy, wholeheartedly, and I think that happened quite some time ago, to be frank with you. And time will tell. We're all watching it unfold. History is being made. Where we go, we don't know. We're all going to continue to follow it, and we're going to continue in the interim to take the appropriate steps necessary as Americans to make the process happen, because we're not really physically seeing it. We're hearing a lot about these things, but people want physical action, and this physical action comes like organizations that you all put out there that is happening in your state, organizations like General Valley putting out the new CCRA now in these commissions. And as I said, there have been many who have already taken the bull by the horns quite some time ago in little pockets all across this nation, who have taken back their towns already through these affidavits and serving these officials and so forth. It's already happening. So it's nice to see this national grouping of people, so that people can feel like it's something big. Again, we all want to feel like we are part of something bigger than ourselves, and that the job is actually getting done, and we can see something tangible. But we'll have to pick this up on the next one. We're running up against the hour. I want to give Randy and Daryn time to tell us where everybody can reach them, where their channels are, where we can see you next live, and then give Powergirl a chance to plug some of the upcoming shows that are coming on this weekend on Powergirl Productions. So go ahead and take it away, Randy and Daryn.
Go ahead.
Where can people find you and see all your stuff? And
Obviously,
see
our
live
website,
next?
our website's patriotswithgrit.com. We're on most all the platforms. We're on Rumble, Gab, Telegram, Truth Social. Sometimes we're on Facebook, or sometimes we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook,
Cloud Hub,
and then on all the podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google Play, all that. We are kicking around in the future here, not too distant, going on to some other platforms. We just haven't done it yet. Brighteon, BitChute, Frank
cool.
Speech, but we just haven't made
Wow.
that leap yet. And then, as we unplug the fax machine and start getting more into technology, we're going to look at going more into live with chat. I mean, tell me that's not
Woo!
exciting. Oh yeah.
There it is.
Live
We'll
with
be
chat.
there supporting you guys all the way.
Exactly.
We'll be there supporting you every
We'll bring the
step
train,
of the way.
the party train.
No
Woo!
more. We don't have to buy thermal paper anymore. It's going to be great. So that's where we are.
That's where we're
There's a
at.
lot of people that don't know
Powergirl,
what
tell us
thermal
what we
paper
got to
is.
look forward,
In the audience, I'm sure.
right? Tell us about this Friday night party you got going on, girl, over on Power Girl Productions.
Oh my gosh, Freedom Fridays! We got to have you guys over. It's quite a blast. That's where we are talking about. So I had the pleasure, as soon as I started to catch wind of this natural law, common law idea, and I realized what a huge elephant it was. Being a technical information delivery specialist, I was like, we got to do something. What are we going to do? And so I started to look for somebody that I considered a subject matter expert, and found somebody that was so much better. And this is what happens when you just pray and let God do the heavy lifting, is you find somebody that's so much better than you can even have imagined. And that is Jake Jackson. He has this incredible media. He has the Freedom Project 2020. I just got a text from him. He says he's got somebody who's really on fire right now, spreading the word for him. But he's the guy he's our Thomas Paine, guys. He's like our philosopher. He has somehow been able to whittle down, a structure, and he's even created an emancipation program where we can emancipate from this, evil corporation. But because it's such a huge body of work, sometimes it's a little overwhelming for people to kind of approach in that way. So we're creating this conversational space on Freedom Fridays with Brock Maddox, and we were really hoping that Brock could be here tonight, but he's a busy guy, and you got to check him out, because I call him Mr. Critical Mass, because he just has he's clearly anointed by God. He has an energy about him that people immediately cling to. He has a bravery. We've gotten very close over the last few months, and I've watched him, in the freedom fighting mode, and I've seen him struggle and be inside the vice, and it's just been really incredible and visceral to watch. So I try to bring that on Freedom Fridays by bringing Brock and bringing Jake, and we get these guys together and start crunching numbers literally about this lost tools of learning and the critical thinking, because most people don't even know what a fallacy is, much less how to identify it. So really that's like our biggest thing right now. And then LW came in and teased you a little bit about what we're working on behind the scenes for Wednesday, for a live show on Wednesday that's going to involve the same gentlemen that come over on Freedom Friday, but on Wolfpack Wednesday, it's going to be all about the men. We're bringing back.
Let's get the channel out there and the time. What channel and what time? Can
Thanks.
Fridays?
I get excited about that, Wolfpack. Yeah. So Freedom Fridays is 3 p.m. California time on the Power Girl Power Hour, and it's on YouTube and Rumble, so you could access it either way. And we have the live chat, and usually it's YouTube where all the live chatting goes on, the Peace and Unity train. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's California time. It's 3 p.m. Wisconsin time. It's 5 p.m. On Fridays. So that's Freedom Friday.
All right.
Yeah.
5 p.m. Central time. 3%.
Yes.
3
Sure.
Pacific. Okay.
Sounds great.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, and I'd love to have you guys on sometime. Check it out. See if you like it.
And I hear you have a special guest. We'll all tune in for that. And definitely want to remind everybody to tune in to Liberty Warrior Nation on Saturday night, where Power Girl and I did a real powerful interview with LW on his channel regarding the Declaration of North America, and we drilled that thing down. It was a great show, and I hope everybody turns out this Saturday evening to give that a watch.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Oh, this has been great.
Been awesome.
Kind of an intro into streaming.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and that's the
Premium
beauty of it.
live.
We all support each other, so we're there for you when when you're doing it live, and because it is a little nerve wracking when you go live, but
Yeah,
Awesome.
we'll be there for you in the chat. You're not alone.
All right. All of our shows have been recorded and edited
Yep.
and uploaded. So looks like we're going to be
Exactly.
going down a new path.
Yeah.
Woo! Rodeo.
Stepping
Rodeo
out.
Well, I
time.
do want to report to all. I do want to report to all the viewers that the show was actually carried live on Rumble as well. So we have that up and going. That's been a challenge for the network, my network, for the last couple of
Yay,
weeks, and
good
we finally
job.
had success today. So y'all are on the first live show on Liberty Cowgirl Nation
There we go.
on Rumble, and I'm honored that you, Randy, and Daryn, Patriots with Grit, that you all joined and that you're part of that historical moment for my channel. So thank you very much. We want to remind everybody to tune in to Liberty Cowgirl Network, my info update shows. We're following the information on General Berger and other information that's coming down the pike, and to tune into the Patriots with Grit. Make it over to their channel and watch their show, and we'll all be watching Power Girl Power
Woohoo.
Hour on
Yeah.
We're gonna get you a cape.
Fridays this Friday. Remember,
I have one. It's Terry
yes,
You know you did that when you were a kid.
we'll
Come
end
on.
it there today, guys. Remember, never give up, never give in, never back down. And
Amen.
in the great words of a great patriot that I know, if you're not out there doing something for your country, then what are you doing? We'll see you all on the next one. Bye.
All right. Take care. Thanks.
Hold up in the back, Randy and Daryn.
Okay, we're here.
Oh.
What, you all threw out a bunch of names
Oh, yeah.
there.
Yeah.
The best way for us to reach out to like Brock and Annie and Jake Jackson, and should we touch base with those people or what?
You should.